All right, before we get started, seriously, I knew as soon as I said it last night it was going to create a storm, and I just want to clarify. And I don't read, as you guys know, but I've been told that there's some speculation on why I said it's a Don Waddell question. I'm going to clarify that Don Waddell and I are 100% on the same page. We communicate about everything. There is not one point in this season where I've asked for a guy to get called up and he said no. There's not one point in this season where he said to me, we're going to call a guy up, and I said no. Not a chance. The reason I said it was, at this point, I'm not talking about a call-up or a possible call-up 2 months ago right after a game. My focus is the hockey game, the hockey team. And I simply said, if you want to ask a question like that, then that's for Don. But as soon as I went back there, I said, Don was in there, and I said, I just got to tell you what I said, and I felt it right away, because it would be speculated that, I wanted somebody, he didn't want somebody, or he wouldn't let me call somebody. That's never the case. Don and I are 100% on the same page. Do we have our discussions on call-ups? Yeah, all the time. And but I just want to clarify that there's no controversy. There's nothing like that. When we call a player up, we communicate as a staff, his staff, our staff, Cleveland staff, to try to figure out the right person to call up in the particular situation where we've needed call-ups. Clear?
Clear.
And then, so I did skate today because it wasn't an optional, and I don't go out in optionals, but I do go out in non-optionals. That was not an optional. You called me out. Some days that you're not here, I'm not sure why, but you don't have to be accountable to me, but apparently I have to be accountable to you and all of you, and I don't know who else. Maybe the people that read your stuff, I don't know. Am I?
Yeah.
Which part? Which one?
I have never written anything about you not talking the day before, not being here anyway.
Yeah, well, you called me out personally.
Because you came at me.
Oh, so if I throw a punch, you got to throw a punch? Two wrongs don't make a right.
It's hardly a punch, but yeah, I'm gonna.
I usually do that too. I like to punch back too. Yeah, I don't mind it. It's kind of fun, actually. Yeah, I'm sure it is. No.
How much and for how long did you kick around the idea of meeting Jeff? Just these internal discussions or coaching stuff?
I don't know time frame wise and whatever. We talk about all the players in Cleveland that are playing well or not playing well, and what projections and all that kind of stuff. But no different than when we coach the team. It's day by day, game by game. And as I said, when and if we need a call up, then we discuss who that player is. So we don't just randomly chat about, should we call this guy up, or should we not call this guy up, or should we send this guy down? It's it's day by day, and it fluctuates obviously, and but yeah, it's just situational.
Not to get serious here, but do you have a comment on Ray Sheriff? I know you guys were together for
Yeah.
a couple years up in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's scary, right? I mean, sad, obviously, like Millsy, and then now, and the Millsy situation. Like, I've got a text with all the ex-Hartford Whalers, and like I said, I didn't play with them, but I crossed paths with them a ton, and that's going back and forth. And then with Ray, yeah, Ray was a fantastic man, funny, just was around, not a ton, like I think his title was a senior advisor there, but just had a tremendous perspective, and just calmly would come in and talk to us. And when I was assistant coach and then became head coach in Minnesota, I talked to him quite a bit. And yeah, both are very sad situations.
Have we seen enough from Jet this season? This is your first season here, but to where when we look forward, like in training camp next year, he has a legitimate shot to earn a spot out of camp?
You guys know as well as everybody, we've talked from day one about the earned atmosphere that we want within our organization, not necessarily just here, but in Cleveland and throughout our entire organization. So does he or does anybody that hasn't been on our roster this year have an opportunity to make our team? Absolutely, 100%. So once we get to that point, we'll go through that process, and guys will be competing for the job next year, and yeah, he'll be one of them.
I guess this season, I mean, he's had an opportunity, 7 games here, played really well. How much has he advanced his career, I guess, in your opinion, playing for you for those 7 games?
Well, I think he's done all the right things clearly to put himself in that position, whether he's here or whether he's in Cleveland. It's a process, and you're developing, right? And that's what he's doing, and he's done a great job of that. Trent and his guys have done a fantastic job down there with. We've talked about this before, that the depth of our organization is real good. It was a question mark, like I think, well, it was for me when I first got here, that people talked about it as a question mark. And we've seen guys get called up here. You can go through them all if you want, whatever. I'm not going to, but that they're developing, they're going through the process of becoming NHL players, and some will and some won't. But everybody will have the opportunity to earn the right to be here, at any given time, and training camp will telltale when we get there.
Not to ask a million questions about Jack, but I guess that is the story of the day. When you watch him play, he just never seems out of control. He seems calm. He seems composed.
Yeah.
As a coach, when a goalie is like that, what does that do for a team? And whether it's on the ice or off the ice, it just seems like he just has that nature that probably I would assume guys enjoy playing in front of them and can do a lot for a team.
Well, I'll take it another step. We've talked about all our goaltenders, whoever's been in our net, that have created a calming influence on our team. Forget about if it's Tarasov, if it's Merzlikin, or if it's Greaves. It's like anytime that you can have a calming effect on any position, especially the goaltending position, it's a positive thing for your team. So, does he and did he last night provide that for us? Yeah.
So, updates on the guys today. So, do you have anything more on either Merzlikins or Christensen?
No. As you guys know, I'm not giving time frames, but I guess I'll say both will not be in our lineup tomorrow.
And but the other guys, like the veterans, maintenance days for all those?
Yeah, just simply maintenance.
I'll ask about the power play situation. Just overall, in the sense, it just seems like they're being less and less called. Or you only had one opportunity yesterday. Is that a factor when you guys look at the power play, knowing that there's not as many out there? Is there more urgency to take advantage of what you do get done when they're there?
Well, last night, certainly, right? And we talked about this before. Our special teams have to be better. There's no question about it, but timely, obviously, last night, to score. We've had timely kills as well. But both have to. It does seem that we haven't got a lot throughout the year. I don't know what the numbers are, to be honest with you, but it doesn't seem like we are getting a lot. But I don't know what the reason for that would be, or what have you. In fact, if we aren't. But yeah, last night there wasn't a lot called, which is, I guess, probably this time of year you want to let the players decide it, and I think that's a positive thing.
He was last night, third period, classic boom gender sort of leadership. Get the team back a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree. We were going over the game and numbers and all that stuff this morning as a staff, and one thing that stands out is his 6 shots, right? That he's all around it, just competing his ass off, as you said, leading in all departments. And you guys know better than me, and you've seen it longer than I have, but I've had enough visuals of his game and who he is as a hockey player, but as a person, to know that his will and his drive is what will lead us to where we want to go.
And have you told Jet how long he's here? He said last time it's day to day, is it still just day to day?
Yep, day by day.
When you meet with the team about 22 hours from now, tomorrow morning, will there be a different message if you're eliminated tonight as opposed to still being in it tomorrow?
Same message. Same message. We don't change from that. We haven't changed from that. It's the puck drops, we compete our asses off, and we see where we sit, right? We've talked about this before. Some guys will look at the standings. It's no different in our coaches' room. Some guys are looking at all the numbers, and this is our magic number, and we got to do this, we got to do that. Some don't look at it at all, which is fine. But the message is we can't control anything else except when the puck's dropped, right? You can control how you prepare to play when that puck's dropped, and then when it is dropped, then you get after it. And that's what we've the team's established this year, and we'll continue to do that regardless of where we sit in the standings or what have you.
Was Elvis hurt in practice yesterday in skate around?
Nope.
Okay. And then the other thing I had was on Steverson. He has been out for 5 or 6 games. Was that like his being a healthy scratch? Is it more of a kind of like just trying to find a spot for him because there's 2 righties type of thing like that, or is there? I'm sure there's more to it than that. And then does he come back tomorrow if Jake can't go?
All those are factors that we obviously consider, and again, no different than we're talking about call-ups. When we're talking about putting the lines together, the D pairs together, who's going to play in net, it's a discussion with the entire organization, and we try to make the right call of who's playing and who's not. And sometimes after a game you go, well, we didn't make the right call. Sometimes it's like, yeah, we made the right call. So you have to make one when you've got as many people as we do here. So every day, the first part of our meeting is discussing our lineup and where we go with it, and who plays and who doesn't play, and all of that. And we'll go through that process again. We did already this morning. We'll do it again after practice here, and then again tomorrow. So, and then hopefully we make the right call.
Thanks.
Did that answer your question or not really?